Welcome to the final session of our Foundation Group series. I just want to take a moment to express how encouraged we are that you've chosen to spend time with us, exploring how God might be calling you and your family on this journey of giving and investing. Your willingness to engage in this process is truly inspiring. This course has been made possible by the generosity of donors, so there's no cost to you and no hidden agenda. However, we would love your help in one small way. If you could take just 3 minutes to complete a quick survey, accessible via the QR code on your screen, it would mean the world to us. Your feedback helps us understand how this content is serving you and your community, and it gives us valuable insights into how we can continue to improve and grow. We'd be so grateful if you could fill it out while you're together in this session. Now, as you pull that up, let me share the story of Suzanne Daniel. Suzanne didn't consider where her investment dollars were being sent. Like many investors, she had the best of intentions, but passively let others make decisions for her. She thought she wasn't qualified, but then she bravely took a look under the hood. What do you think she found? Let's watch.
I think as Christians, we all strive to live authentic lives, to be who we are out in the world, to have that be the same person that you're experiencing the Lord with. And I couldn't live as a hypocrite where I was making money off of things that the Lord hates and that are bad for us and bad for our children and bad for vulnerable people, and then go walking around in the world saying that I cared about that same group of people. So it was almost like the grants were being canceled out to some degree by our investments. I think our calling as believers is to bring whatever elements of heaven that we have some kind of impact on to earth. And when you see those magical moments when that actually happens, that is joy that that you really can't replace with anything else. So pursue it, chase it down. You'll find yourself working in environments that are incredibly painful, but when you see lives transformed, businesses grow, an entrepreneur or a founder of a nonprofit have the big win, finish the hospital, change a child's life, there's really nothing like it on earth. My dad was working for a bank. He decided that he and a group wanted to leave and start a mutual fund company. We moved to Pennsylvania at that point because the business became very successful. In his words, he did better than he should have. I had been on a track to go to vet school. So when I didn't do that, I got married, we had a baby, we moved back to the area in Pennsylvania that my parents lived. My dad, I think we were out to lunch, and he said, "Would you want to help me give money away?" And I couldn't say yes fast enough. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, I've been advised by our lawyers to start a foundation." Didn't even know what a foundation was. So he started it with really no intention other than to give it away.
If there's one thing that my grandfather taught us, it's essentially he was at the right place at the right time. It doesn't belong to him. God gave him this gift to use, to bless others with. And it's up to us how we want to steward it, how we want to use that to bless others. And just because we have it doesn't mean it's ours, and we have to run away from that mindset that we're entitled to what we've worked for, what we own, because it's not.
So we had a second child, and when the kids were about 7 and 3, we adopted a daughter from China. Soon after our first daughter came home, I was invited to go to Haiti. I had been doing mostly domestic giving with our foundation. That led to about 7 or 8 years of grant making and trips to visit our partners there. And at one point, the government in Haiti decided to send all the kids over 18 that were living in orphanages out. Like, you have to leave. And they had nowhere to go. So we started a scholarship fund and started supporting some of the kids that we had met in an orphanage to go to college. And that grew into the Bridge Scholarship, and we've put 20 kids a year through college in Haiti.
But we had exposure to be able to go to Haiti, see how some of the poorest people in the world live, and and try to thrive, and see how just a little bit of compassion and love and generosity can entirely change their universe and their environment, positively, so that they're able to help then generations to come after them.
So because of that program, I was visiting there often. I had friends there, I had relationships. And there was one day I was sitting at lunch and a friend invited me to go visit a factory, which I was like, sure, time to kill. It's 150 degrees. Where else would I rather be than in a Haitian factory? So we walked into a place and I was blown away. It was a sunny, solar-powered, female-led manufacturing facility. The farthest thing from a sweatshop you could have imagined. There was joy, there was music, there was people singing, they were making shoes. And I had tracked with this company when they were a nonprofit, and they were making shoes in a little stand on the side of the road and employing Haitians so that they had work to do and could feed their families. And they were expanding they were keeping the nonprofit, but they were growing also a for-profit enterprise. So I went to that grand opening, was blown away, and that was the first time I ever asked, how can I invest in this? So it took about a year. Connections that I had made at the gathering connected me to the Impact Foundation, and I had that first conversation with Amy Minnick about how you get charitable assets from a foundation to a for-profit business. I've always looked at these resources as not my own. I didn't earn them, I inherited them. This is a gift given to me to steward well for the Lord, so in one hand, that's a relief. On the other hand, it's intimidating and there's pressure, but sometimes you do have to make that gamble. I don't know if this little company will ever have significant returns, but I know right now there's 30 to 40 artisans working, and all of their kids are able to go to school, and they have health insurance, and they aren't being assaulted at work, and they're being encouraged, and they're in the Word every single day together. And if that is risky, I'll do that again and again. I mean, that's what heaven on earth looks like.
Dumais means two hands in French, and we built a company based on what we were able to create with our own two hands despite all the odds. Rebuild Globally was training people for job readiness, but in a country with a 40% unemployment rate, it couldn't end there. It absolutely couldn't end there. So we created the other side, Dumais Designs, a direct pipeline to dignified employment with maternity and paternity leave, access to health insurance, paid vacation. This is how we saw radical transformation in our community. I think that it's time that we recognize that with the right support, Haiti can help herself. And I also think that it's time for us to recognize that no one needs to live in extreme poverty in this day and age.
Probably 15 years ago, I had approached my dad and said, what else are we invested in? And he said, it's diversified, he used all the words. And very much the philosophy with him, and I think his generation, which I'm grateful for now, was make as much money as you can so that you can give away the most that you possibly could. And that's pretty much where the conversation stopped, because I realized I didn't have the knowledge to ask the questions that were in my heart, but didn't have the words yet. That's when I started asking for people to walk with me. And I was, again, the Lord never let me down. Every time I felt a prompting that I felt ill-equipped for, there was a person that came into my life. And so I was introduced to my now advisor, Endel Elias, who's with Eversource. And I was able to say, I can't pick companies to diversify my foundation portfolio. There's no way I'm even gonna try. I've got 55 partners that I love and wanna do grants with. So as I worked with Endel, he introduced me to a screening system called Bright Light, which screens your portfolio to see, after I had determined what my screens were through multiple conversations, what was important to me, really down to the granular level. It was shocking to realize that while we were supporting young children in other countries in education, in healthcare, in freedom, anti-trafficking, anti-slavery movements, that some of our investments had massive child labor violations. So I felt like a hypocrite. I took that to the board, and there was silence in the room. So that was powerful to show them, because I really don't think most Americans want to make money off gambling, off of abortion, off of pornography, off of, terrible habitual behavior that's destroying our country. I really don't think that that's what they're after, but I don't think they know.
Okay, so how easy was it to clean up?
I paid somebody to do it. No, the team at Eversource really helped guide our trust company on what to put in those spaces that were like investments. Most people wouldn't think that that's an easy job, to clean up your portfolio and take anything that's offensive out or doesn't align with your values out. But there are new screening tools coming into use now that faith-led investment advisors are using to help expose. And then with talented investment managers, they can look at those investments that you have and plug in. There's more available to plug in to that space once you eliminate those offenders. So I was not involved in the process other than, yes, do that. This is an offender, this is an offender, this is the amount of income or the percentage of income that this company is making off of this activity that you don't want in your portfolio. Do you want us to get rid of that? Yes. If it's below 1%, probably not. So we really worked on those kinds of details, and then they went into the kitchen and cleaned it up. But I had at least spoken to them what I felt like the Lord wanted me to do. One thing that's been very helpful to me has been serving on boards with people that know way more than I do about the topic. So serving on the Gathering board, I'm exposed to incredible people that are either a little bit further ahead or think about things differently. I serve on the Impact Foundation board, and I only accepted that when I said, "Do you promise to keep teaching me?" And they said, "That's why we want you there." So community has been the most important part of my success, if there is some, in this realm. I wasn't even interested in investing. I didn't want to learn, but when I saw the impact that it had in the developing world on people that I cared so much about, I had to learn it. But the same is true with other things: education, health, human rights. If you don't feel like an expert in that field, trust that if he's calling you, he's going to equip you.
I have seen Suzanne just grow and enjoy her work even more because she is learning how to be a more effective impact investor. And there's always new ways to do that. She has good advisors that are looking through her portfolio. She's thinking not just one-off, but investments, but how to harmonize her entire portfolio so that it works in tandem with her grant-making side of the endowment. So here she is with the foundation. The grants are doing one thing. Her endowment and investments are doing something here, and she's harmonizing those so that she gets impact along the entire spectrum of the finances until they go out as a grant to a donation. And I think she's a pioneer in this area.
My parents were first-generation church-going Christians. Their faith journey really added a lot to my life as a child, a lot of things that I'm looking back now and realizing that that's why I do things the way I do. I think the most important thing that they did and that we also tried to do with our own 4 kids is expose them to people and environments that really are struggling. Show them that no matter what they're making, they still have something to give, whether it's their time or their money. I've been on this foundation journey and philanthropy journey while raising 4 children, and he let me do it. There was a lot of messages sent at red lights and stop signs, and while I'm throwing Cheerios in the back of the car, and somehow out of that, a college program in Haiti sprung up. That wasn't me. That was the Holy Spirit. My greatest hope for my family is that our 4 children would be walking with the Lord and that they would learn to be generous. And as they have grown, I'm seeing it play out in the most beautiful way, and I'm incredibly grateful.
What an incredible story to wrap up our time together. It really makes you think, do you know where your capital is going? Maybe you're like Suzanne, a well-intentioned Christian whose investments are unintentionally working against the impact that you hope to create. If you're feeling uncertain, don't be discouraged or overwhelmed. Consider this as a turning point. Your eyes are being opened to new possibilities, and that's a gift. The great news is you don't have to navigate this journey alone. As we finish this series, you and I both know that life will quickly throw distractions your way. The enemy will do everything he can to pull you away from the conviction you just discovered. The conviction to do more with what God has entrusted to you. The world will whisper that safety and comfort and reducing risk are the way to go. But here's the truth. God is calling you to step off the sidelines and into the game. He's called your number. You're in the starting lineup. This could be the beginning of something truly transformative, not just for you, but for the people, the world around you. I want to reassure you that you're ready. You've already done the groundwork. Throughout this series, we've provided you with tools and insights to start those conversations that you need to take to have those meaningful, joy-filled steps towards getting in the game. God has equipped you. He's inviting you to be a part of something much bigger than yourself. This is your moment to move forward in faith, knowing that the actions you take today can change the world for His glory.
Andy Crouch helped us reframe our relationship with money, showing us how to detox from the world's pressures and practice creative resistance. He reminded us that we can push back against the temptations and trappings that often distract us from our true calling. John Coleman expanded our view, teaching us that our influence isn't limited to just charitable giving. Every investment we make has the potential to make an impact. Greg Lenehan then provided us with a practical framework for constructing a faith-driven investing portfolio that aligns with our values and purpose. Throughout this series, we've also heard powerful, real-life stories from peers and families just like us. These individuals who took one faithful step forward and began a joyful adventure, seeking the 30, 60, and 100-fold returns that we read about in the Bible in the parable of the sower. This isn't some abstract parable in the Bible. This is a real global movement. There's now a growing list of funds and direct deals that we can actively participate in and contribute to, making a tangible difference in the world. As we reflect on all we've learned, it's clear we're part of something bigger than ourselves. This journey of faith-driven investing is just the beginning, and the opportunities ahead of us are filled with potential. It's time to step forward with intention, knowing that the impact we make today can ripple out to create lasting change for God's kingdom.
At this moment, it would be easy for us to get hyper-focused on the playbook of how to apply this content to our own context. But in doing so, we might miss the bigger picture. Faith-driven investor is not some system we run to for victory. God is calling us to do so much more. He's a player's coach inviting us on a journey with Him filled with joy and excitement unlike anything we could ever experience on our own. We're not just on a quest to build a better portfolio or enjoy a higher rate of return. God has given us the opportunity to know Him more fully by allocating and deploying capital in a way that draws us closer to Him and to His purpose. And He wants us to be a part of a team, one that we rally around and one that rallies around us. Part of God's invitation is to bring us into community with one another.
We want to encourage you to participate in one of the several communities where you can connect with like-minded peers who care about the same things that you do. One of these we've talked about in this series is called Solving the World's Greatest Problems. This is both a ministry and a website designed specifically for faith-driven entrepreneurs and investors. This hub of information helps shine a light on these problems while also providing a tangible way to build, invest, and give together. We no longer live in a world where information is scarce. It's just the opposite. We get so paralyzed by the overload of info that we struggle to follow through on our good intentions. Our hope is to help you find simplicity on the other side of complexity, and that we can do far more together than we ever can accomplish apart. In addition to content, we help you explore the different areas to get involved. Faith-Driven Investor will be forming communities around each of the 30+ problems listed on the website. The goal is to invite high-capacity leaders to build collaborations of giving, investing together, and discovering ways to push back the darkness with God's light on our side. God has called you to impact the world with the resources He's entrusted to you. Joining a community that wants to build, invest, and give together is your next bold step forward. Visit solvingtheworldsgreatestproblems.org.
One great way to stay connected and continue your journey is by leading a group. Maybe you have friends, family, or even couples in your life who would benefit from going through this course with you. You can sign up to lead a group online or in person, and we'll provide you with all the materials and support you need to create a meaningful experience. No matter how you organize your group, we encourage you to stay committed to building deep, authentic community. After experiencing the joy of openly sharing about our finances, our faith, and God's plan for both, we want to avoid slipping back into isolation. We also want you to consider inviting your financial advisor to go through this course as well. Provide us with an email address and we'll send an invitation for them to join this important course with other like-minded advisors. Maybe your advisor is knowledgeable about the market but hasn't fully connected with your faith background. It's understandable. Many advisors might be hesitant to dive into unfamiliar areas. Whether you'd like your current advisor to deepen their understanding or you're looking for a part-time consultant who specializes in this area, we've compiled a list of trusted advisors on the Faith Driven Investor website who can guide you through this process. It's crucial to have honest conversations about the resources God has entrusted to us. It really boils down to one question. Is God's glory our greatest ambition? If not, we risk being weighed down by worry and fear and missing the opportunity to truly live out our faith in the world around us. The truth is, we can't do this alone. We need allies, people who share our vision and can help us take those steps off the sidelines and into action. We're so grateful that you spent the past few weeks with us, exploring the joy of faith-driven investing and considering how God might use us as stewards of His resources. We can't wait to hear what you learn as you continue to seek His guidance in this journey. We look forward to connecting with you again soon.